This right here gonna be a cakewalk.
Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today I want to give you guys a breakdown of everything that happened at the EWC for Street Fighter 6 and LCQ for Tekken 8. First off, history was made with Street Fighter. Two 15-year-olds made top 3, and one of them went far enough to win the 250K, making history as the youngest winner of an esports tournament. That is absolutely insane, and it makes sense if you go back to what the developers said about Street Fighter 6. They said that their player base, 70% of it is made up of new players, and these 15-year-olds who's bodying all of the legacy guys and making their way to the top is evidence of that. These two guys are going to dominate for a long time. We know that for Tekken and some of the Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat guys, they are competing all the way up into their 40s. These guys being 15, we're looking at 20 years of domination easily. And then also winning $250,000 at the age of 15, when you take into consideration what their whole entire career earnings will be, it's going to be an insane number. It's so interesting where fighting games started and where they're at now. So much more money, so much more opportunity. These young guys got all of it at their disposal. On the gameplay aspect of the games, really, characters don't bother me. I've seen discussions online, people were talking about the Sagat, the Ryu, the Lily, the Mai, etc. I kind of don't care about the character conversation because if you look at every competitive game out there, whether it be Tekken, Street Fighter, Marvel Rivals, Overwatch, there's always annoying characters, carried characters, bad balanced characters, underused characters. These are common trends throughout, and those conversations will repeat with just different names and different faces. What's really important about Street Fighter is the mechanical gameplay. This was talked about by Punk on Twitter earlier in the week. The throw loops into Drive Rush absolutely dominated the gameplay. Even in the top of the tournament, the highest level, the final few combatants, you'll see them get put into the corner and they have to guess. Grab, Drive Rush, and just rinse and repeat. It would be really interesting to see how Street Fighter plays without that mechanic being in there. And now is the perfect time to change it. At the same time of me recording this video, Yasmin update will be releasing and also a new balance patch alongside her. They said that that update will affect all characters and they didn't go into the specifics, but hopefully it affects it in a way to where you can't do that mix up over and over again and win tournaments that way. Street Fighter 6, it sounds good and it looks good. Boiling the gameplay down to spamming two of the same options really takes away from how good the game could actually be. So hopefully they change that with this next update. Before we continue the coverage of EWC, please be sure to like, subscribe, and also turn on notifications. That is very important. And while you're down there, you can also hype the video. It helps me out a lot. But now moving on to Tekken 8 for the LCQ. I must say the format was terrible. Absolutely. They should not stretch the LCQ into 3 days. We know that other tournaments like the Tekken World Tour, etc. can do it in 1 day. It's a better format, it's better competition, and it's just better engagement. I've seen a lot of people tune in on the first day, get bored, and then not come back. If the format was a little bit better, that would not be an issue. What I also would say, and this is for tournaments as a whole, but we need to see more high-level matches on the screen in the beginning days of the tournament. For some reason, you have so many lower level players playing on screen for hours, and then when you look at the bracket, you see some of the top guys go head to head and get eliminated, or you see huge upsets. I don't know why. It's almost as if they're avoiding putting top level players on the stage. And I get it. They want to kind of sell the idea of traveling to the average viewer. If you go to a tournament, they're telling you that you could be on stage, and that's very appealing. But at the same time, it's not just, tournaments isn't just advertisements for tournaments. Tournaments is also advertisement for the game. And if the game looks boring because the person doesn't know how to play or the person's dropping combos, it's just a bad experience overall. You guys let me know what you think about that though, because like I'm an above average player, so I can see when someone doesn't really understand the game, just how people who are better than me can see my lack of understanding of the game. I wonder if someone is lower rank or lower skilled, can they notice all of these inconsistencies in the gameplay and whether or not that pulls them out of the experience. Regardless, another thing that we must mention about the EWC, and this is basically as a whole for the fighting games is the HUD layout. It's once again terrible. The round count is counterintuitive. In Tekken, when you win a round, the black square turns gold. In EWC, the black square turns gray. So it's kind of like reverse effect, and it's really not clear about who is winning and losing a round. You got to kind of take a second to think about who's up, who's down. And when you're watching the tournament, high octane action, it's supposed to be like immediate information, very easily to process. That's one thing. But then two, and I understand that this is more so a team tournament, who sponsored what player and not necessarily what region they come from, but that's still a big part of fighting games and games as a whole, and they should try to fit that information in there somewhere. Now, when we move on past day 1 into day 2, I must say it was much better. Once a lot of people got eliminated, you were able to see the top talent perform, and you must mention the name of Ao Richie, known to be one of the best Leo players on the planet. Bro definitely showcased it. Beat 2 of the best Yoshimitsu players on the planet to get all the way up into like top 16. A couple of the names that Ao Richie had to face was Book, Kudans, iMusician, Zubar, Hexmark, Bushin Ryu, and King Jodora. Bro's journey was crazy. Walking away with 5th place at this tournament is very impressive. Hopefully we see more out of Ao Richie in the future. Now, as for the lone American, King Ray Jr., Bro made it all the way to 17th place. It really would have been cool if more Americans could have showed up, but we know that those guys are having sponsor issues and not a lot of them could travel that far distance. Also, keep in mind that a lot of those guys are saving up money to go for CEO instead, but NA isn't eliminated completely because we still have Ninja Killer, who already qualified for the Esports World Cup. Now, as for the projected winner, XCC, they was also taken out at 17th place by Rafe, who actually made it very, very far in this tournament. The top 8 of this tournament was pretty interesting, with Rafe, Newman, Zubar, Ao Richie, Kudan, Shonen, Crescent, and iMusician all being there. It was competitive all the way up to this point, but things took a turn once top 4 was made. Top 4 all qualified for the Esports World Cup, and you can notice that a lot of the pro players started to pull off the gas. They started to pick different characters, they started to pick pocket characters, and they overall started to perform worse. Dropping combos, doing misinputs. You even have Newman, which is one of the best Steve players on the planet, pick Kazuya. And then he started doing the forward, down, forward, 1+2 miss input. For the Kazuya mains out there, you know what that is, where you get the rage art instead of doing the CD 1+2. That is absolutely crazy. You had Rafe, the Jin main, pick Dragunov, and he started dropping combos. He did try to switch back to Jin once he was about to get eliminated, but the damage was already done. Once everyone confirmed their spot and qualified for the EWC, they basically started sandbagging and picking alt characters, and the tournament got really boring after that. It was a grand finals reset with Kazuya versus Paul Phoenix, Newman versus Zubar. It was kind of interesting because you had a Kazuya in the mix, but really the format needs to be changed so that these guys would give it their all the way through. Maybe there just wasn't that much money on the line, and they're thinking about how much money is on the line for Esports World Cup, and they don't want to reveal their hand. Regardless, the tournament got off to a slow start, and then it ended at a slow start. The middle area was really impactful and really hype. They need to find a way to make the whole tournament like that. Congratulations to Zubar for winning the Tekken 8 Last Chance qualifier using Paul Phoenix and securing his spot at the Esports World Cup alongside Newman, Rafe, and Kudans. The Esports World Cup will take place on August 5th to the 8th. Thank you for watching, and bye-bye.